Evidently, the value of cryptocurrencies is increasing. However, the dramatic backdrop of the most recent bust cycle in the ongoing boom and bust cycle in cryptocurrency values served as the impetus for the introduction of the Lummis-Gillibrand Responsible Financial Innovation Act. This act, which lays out a comprehensive regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies, was introduced against the backdrop of the crypto market. When it was originally presented, there was a lot of buzz about it. But what is the bill proposing? And how will it affect the crypto market? Hello and welcome back to Crypto Cash Channel. Do you think regulations in crypto are effective? And how do you think the market would respond? In today's video, we look at the new crypto regulation that might kill crypto in America. But first, before we go on, a sub to the channel would be very appreciated. Comment, share the video, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up for the video. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Adel Nazarian, who serves as the Chief Executive Officer of the American Blockchain PAC, is an advocate for the development of blockchain technology and digital assets in the United States. She is also opposed to legislation that would limit the expansion of these industries. Todd August White is now serving as the managing partner of Rulin & White Governance Strategies, in addition to his roles as the founder and executive director of the American Blockchain PAC. This legislation, notwithstanding the possibility that it would be perceived as quite insensitive, is a symptom of the mainstreaming of cryptocurrencies. However, it will not be put into effect this year. The majority of people who are interested in politics believe that there will be a significant shuffling of seats in Congress after the election in November. Hence, the viability of the act for the course of its full tenure is in question. When it was first introduced, this law had just 2 sponsors, despite the fact that it was ostensibly nonpartisan. Before being taken to the floor for a vote, the legislation has to be approved by 4 committees, that is the one serving on agriculture, banking, intelligence, and finance. To make matters even worse, there is no sign that it will command a majority of 60 votes, which is required to overcome the challenging filibuster hurdle. Already, many on the left are grumbling that the measures are not stringent enough. The objection presented by the Center for American Progress asserts that the current situation is superior to this law and should be maintained. On the other hand, the vast majority of Republicans are likely to consider this an excessive amount of regulation. Even though it seems certain that the Senate will adopt the bill, one should not assume that the Republican-controlled House and President Joe Biden would sign it. For the first time in a very long time, those who are knowledgeable in cryptography have something nonpartisan that they can work with. And the approval of the sponsors is widely sought after by a variety of lobbying groups. However, the vast majority of crypto advocates are too politically motivated to disclose all of the problems. Both of the senators who are the bill's primary sponsors made major appearances at the launch party for the bill, which was held at Washington Post Live and was titled, "The Evolution of Money, Cryptocurrency Regulation." And if you take a look at the event known as Policypalooza, attendees included not only Rostin Benham, the chair of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, but also Tomika Tillemann, the Global Chief Policy Officer at Hahn Ventures, and Dante Despart, the Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Global Policy at Circle. In the 117th Congress, it seems doubtful that the law will be passed, paraphrasing what was expressed by Despart and Tillemann and reiterated by the media. Appropriate appreciation and acknowledgement were given to the initial step taken toward the establishment of an all-encompassing regulatory framework that protects the general public without suffocating the sector. But there are still many wrinkles and quirks that need to be ironed out. But what does the bill propose, really? The basic idea of Lummis-Gillibrand's proposal is apparently to separate blockchain assets into 2 categories. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission will regulate virtual currencies such as Bitcoin and Ether as commodities and will supervise their trading. The so-called Howey test will be used to categorize thousands of alternative cryptocurrencies, the vast majority of which will be classified as security, hence subject to regulation by the Securities and Exchange Commission. During the process of drafting the act, the senators made it very obvious that they consulted extensively with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. However, the approach that is proposed in this idea for assessing and reducing the associated compliance expenditures, which may be debilitating for businesses that are still in the beginning phases of their development, is still surrounded by a large amount of uncertainty. The Securities and Exchange Commission, which Gary Gensler chairs, has had a challenging year as a result of the difficult economic climate. This is not an agency that has a reputation for being easygoing in any way. With this plan, the United States would no longer be able to compete with other nations for algorithmic stablecoins. There is a good chance that this is a reaction to Terra's $40 billion Luna disaster. Nevertheless, it disregards the success that Frax Finance has had so far. But now, is the bill likely to pass? In the event that the Republicans make a comeback, it appears that the Lummis-Gillibrand bill will have the most difficulty succeeding because of the naturally regulatory-heavy approach it takes rather than the particulars of the bill itself. The Big Reveals section of the presentation shed light on the close connection that the senators have with the regulators. At an event hosted by the Post, Senators Lummis and Gillibrand offered their thoughts on the spot. The most disturbing thing was Senator Gillibrand's unscripted statement, in which she called for not just future regulation of Web3, which undoubtedly includes crypto, but also a move for retroactive legislation of the web itself. But what do we think about such statements? Well, despite the fact that the internet and social media have their issues, they have been one of the greatest technological success stories of all time. They have contributed trillions of dollars to the economy of the United States and have firmly established the country's position at the top of the technological food chain. It was reckless to disclose that Senator Gillibrand has promised that the Web3, and even Web 2.0 will be subject to stringent regulation. So, unless at least 10 Republicans vote in favor of it, this legislation will not be able to get through the Senate. It is anticipated that Republicans who are opposed to further government regulation will win control of the House of Representatives in the midterm elections of 2022. The implications of this information on the likelihood of the law being approved are not favorable. Senator Lummis, a Republican who leans conservative and supports Bitcoin but is less enthusiastic about other cryptocurrencies, said as much during the announcement of her signature piece of cryptocurrency legislation. A journalist for The Washington Post named Tori Numier raised questions about the major entry of cryptocurrencies into the lobbying and advocacy process in the nation's capital while pointing out that the industry has invested $5 million in the former. On the flip side, the co-sponsor of a significant piece of ambitious legislation has openly admitted that the market does not support a major pillar of the regulatory system that she has proposed. And we call this scientism. In the acceptance speech for the Nobel Prize that Friedrich Hayek gave, he used the opportunity to condemn scientism, the habit of the economics profession adopting the appearance but not the content of science. In contrast to this, we are of the opinion that the forces of the market, operating in accordance with the rule of law, will be a great deal more successful than ambitious laws in protecting the general people from being subjected to force, fraud, or coercion. Particularly challenging is the task of policing organizations that have already veered from the course they were supposed to follow. In the words of Dr. W. Scott Stornetta, a pioneer in blockchain technology and the leader of our advisory board, let freedom ring. For because of the beautiful concept of cryptocurrencies and market maturity, cryptocurrency is gaining popularity. It's an important artifact from the past. However, simply bringing in woman freedom, also known as the lady on top of this Capitol dome, is all that's needed to reach the downfall status quickly. And that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. Is the idea of crypto under regulation good? Would it mature the economy in the long run? Comment below. Let's engage. Also, if you are interested in more videos like this, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. See you in the next video.